Good morning, students. Today's class English. Now we are going to see about the supplementary reader from the first unit. The topic is the woman on platform. The woman on platform. This story was written by Ruskin Bond. This story was written by Ruskin Bond. Okay, students. The woman on platform number 8, which was written by Ruskin Bond, is a story about love and affection that transcends all barriers of kinship. The story revolves around Arun's encounter with a stranger. The story revolves around Arun's encounter with a stranger, a mysterious woman. A mysterious woman. The woman is in a white sari, treats him like a son. The woman in a white sari treats him like a son. She offers him tea and samosa. She offers him tea and samosa. Okay, students. Now let's see the supplementary reader briefly. Now I am going to read the paragraph, section 1. Listen carefully. It was my second year at boarding school. It was my second year at boarding school, and I was sitting on platform number 8. And I was sitting on platform number 8 at Ambala station, waiting for the northern bound train. I think I was about 12 at the time. My parents considered me old enough to travel alone. And I had arrived by bus at Ambala early in the evening. Now there was a wait till midnight before my train arrived. Understand? Now there was a wait till midnight before my train arrived. Then most of the time I had been passing up and down the platform. Passing up and down the platform, browsing at the bookstall, or feeding broken biscuits to stray dogs. Trains came and went, and the platform would be quiet for a while. And then, when a train arrived, it would be an inferno of heavying, shouting, agitated human bodies. As the carriage doors opened, a tide of people would sweep down upon the nervous little ticket collector at the gate, and every time this happened. See, as the carriage doors opened, a tide of people would sweep down upon the nervous little ticket collector at the gate every time this happened. I would be caught in the rush. Caught. Okay, catch is the present form, caught is the past form, and past participle form also caught. C-A-U-G-H-T, caught. Okay, I would be caught in the rush and swept outside the station. Now, tired of this game and of ambling about the platform, I sat down on my suitcase and gazed dismally across the railway track. Okay, students, now I am going to explain the paragraph. See, students, in this poem, the narrator Ruskin Bond, the narrator of the story Arun is a 12 years old boy studying in a boarding school. Understand, students? Arun is a 12 years. Okay, how old Arun is, how old Arun is the 12 year, okay. And where he was studying, yes, Arun is studying in a boarding school, Arun is a 12-year-old boy studying in a boarding school. Okay, one day he was waiting all alone for his train on platform number 8 of Ambala station. Okay, which station is mentioned here? Ambala station. Okay, platform number, what is the platform number? Platform number 8. Okay, one day he was waiting all alone for his train on platform number 8 of Ambala station. It was his second year at boarding school. Okay, he was going back to school after vacation. Okay, he was going back to school after vacation. Okay, there was a vacation. After vacation, he came back to school. Understand? He came back to school after vacation. Okay. His parents thought that he was old enough to travel alone. Okay, because he was matured. I think his parents thought that he was old enough. Okay, he was old enough to travel alone. He was able to travel alonely. Okay, his parents thought about him. He was ready to travel alonely. Okay, so his parents thought that he was old enough to travel alone. Understand? Okay, then his train was to come at midnight. His train was to come at midnight. Okay, his train came there at midnight, and he had come much earlier for his train. But he came to the station much earlier for his train. It was a long wait. Because he came early to the station. So he came much earlier for his train, and it was a long time. So he paused his time in watching whatever went on the platform. He paused. Okay, he paused his time. He spent his time in watching whatever there was going at the platform. Okay, then whatever went on the platform. He spent his time passing up and down the platform. Understand? Reading books or throwing biscuits to the dogs, stray dogs. And when he was tired, he sat down on his suitcase. It's usually happened to us. Okay, whenever we go in some other place by train or by bus stand. Okay, sometimes we take some rest. Okay, we feel to take some rest. At the time, we also do the thing that if we feel tired, we have to keep our head onto the bag. Okay, understand? So like this, similarly, he also spent his time passing up and down the platform, reading books, throwing biscuits to stray the dogs. When he was tired, he also sat down on his suitcase. Understand, students? Are you able to understand? Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. See. Okay, students, again I am going to explain the first paragraph. The narrator of the story, Arun, is a 12-year-old boy studying in a boarding school. Yes, one day he was waiting all alone for his train on platform 8 of Ambala station. Which station? Ambala station. It was his second year at boarding school. He was going back to school. He was going back to school after vacation. His parents thought he was old enough to travel alone. Okay, he was able to travel alone. His train was to come at midnight, but he had come much earlier for his train. It was a long wait. wait. It was a long wait. He was waiting for a long time. So he paused. So he paused his time in watching whatever went on the platform. He spent his time passing up and down the platform, reading books or throwing biscuits to stray dogs. When he was tired, when he felt tired, he sat down on his suitcase. Understand? Then trolleys rolled past me. Trolleys is a do you know meaning of the trolley? That trolley. Okay, trolley means wheeled carrying. Okay, wheeled carrying. Trolleys rolled past me, and I was conscious of the cries of the various vendors. Okay, those who are sales vegetables, like this vendors means those who are sales vegetables, not only vegetables but other things also. So vendors, the men who sold curds and lemon, the sweets meat, so seller, the newspaper boy, like these are called vendors. But I had lost interest in all that went on along the busy platform and continued to stare across the railway tracks, feeling bored and a little lonely. Once again, I am going to read the same paragraph. Listen carefully. Trolleys rolled past me, and I was conscious of the cries of the various vendors. The men who sold curds, and lemon, the sweet meat, seller, the newspaper boy. But I had lost interest in all that went on along the busy platform and continued to stare across the railway tracks, feeling bored and a little lonely. Are you able to understand? So, the author explains in this paragraph. From the paragraph, he was sitting lonely in the platform, and he saw some vendors. The man those who are sales curds, lemons and sweet meats, seller, newspaper boy. Okay, so those who are I had a lost interest in all that went on along the busy platform. Okay, and continue to stare across the stare means look. Okay, and he continued to look across the railway tracks and feeling bored and a little lonely. And are you all alone, my son? Are you all alone, my son? Asked a soft voice close behind me. I looked up and saw a woman standing near me. Behind him, there was a soft voice. Okay, asked, are you all alone? Are you all alone, my son? Okay, he was alone. A soft voice asked, he was alone. I looked up. Okay, he looked up and saw a woman. He looked up and saw a woman standing near him. She was leaning over. He was leaning over. And I saw a pale face and dark kind eyes. She wore no jewels. Okay. When she saw a pale face and dark kind eyes, she wore no jewels and was dressed very simply in a white sari. Okay, his appearances, there is given her appearances. Okay, she was leaning over and she was a pale face and she had a dark and kind eyes. She wore no jewels She didn't wore any jewels. Okay, she didn't wore any jewels and was dressed very simple in a white saree. Yes, I am going to school, I said. Okay, he said he was going to school. He said yes, and he was going to school. He said that he was going to school and stood up respectfully, and he stood up. Okay, she seemed poor. She seemed to be poor, but there was a dignity about her that commanded respect. That commanded respected. So respect. And I have been watching you for some time. I have been watching you for some time. She said, didn't your parents come to see you off? She asked him. His parents did not come. His parents had not come to see him off. Okay, so I have been waiting for you some time. She asked, and she said, didn't your parents come to see you off? And I don't live here, I said. I had to change trains anyway. I can travel alone. I'm sure you can. She said. And I liked her for saying that, and I also liked her for the simplicity of her dress and for her deep, soft voice. I'm going to explain you now. See, after that, he heard a woman's soft voice behind him. Okay, he heard a woman's soft voice behind him. So, a soft voice close behind him. He heard the little boy heard a woman's soft voice behind him, and she was a woman of over 30 with a pale face and dark kind eyes. Understand? So with a pale face, she was a woman of over 30 years with pale face and dark kind eyes, and she was dressed in a white saree. She wore no jewels. She did not wear any jewel. Okay, she wore no jewels, but had a dignity about her. Dignity, respect. Dignity means respect. Okay, self-respect. He had a dignity about her. She asked him if he was alone. Okay, here, are you all alone, my son? She asked. Okay, she asked him if she was alone. He told her that he was alone, and yes, I am alone. I am going to school. Okay, so he responded. Okay, he responded her that he was alone, and his train would come around midnight. His train would come around midnight. He told her that he was alone and his train would come around midnight. She was very gentle. And soft in her questions about him. She invited him to go with her to the refreshment room. See in the second page, next page. And the serenity of her face. Tell me, what is your name? She asked. Arun, I said. Okay, the white saree lady asked him what his name was. Okay, and he answered his name was Arun. And she asked, how long do you have to wait for your train? For your train? About an hour. She answered her, about an hour. I think it comes at 12 o'clock. I think it comes at 12 o'clock. So see, it comes at 12 o'clock. Then come with me, have something to eat. The lady asked him, come with her and have something and had something to eat. And then he answered, I was going to refuse out of shyness and suspicion. Suspicion means a doubt, okay, doubt, suspect, okay, suspicion. But she took me by the hand, and then I felt it would be silly to pull my hand away. Understand? I was going to refuse out of shyness and suspicion, but she took me by the hand, and then I felt it would be silly to pull my hand away. Understand? She told a coolie to look after my suitcase. She told a coolie to look after my suitcase, and then she led me away down the platform. Her hand was gentle. And she held mine neither too firmly nor too lightly. I looked up at her again. I looked up at her again. She was not young, and she was not old. Understand? She was not young, and she was not old. She must have been over 30. But had she been 50, I think she would have looked much the same. Much the same. Then she took me into the station dining room. Ordered tea and samosas, and she ordered tea and samosas and jalebis. And at once I began to thaw and take a new interest in this kind woman. The strange encounter had little effort on my appetite. I was a hungry schoolboy. And I ate as much as I could eat, as polite a manner. Okay, I could in as polite a manner as possible. She took obvious pleasure in watching me eat, and I think it was the food that strengthened the bond between us and cemented our friendship. For under the influence of the tea and sweets, I began to talk quite freely. It was comfortable. I would talk to her. I began to talk her very freely, quite freely, and told her about my school and told her about my school and my friends and my likes and dislikes. Okay, and she questioned me quietly from time to time, but preferred listening. She drew me out very well, and I had soon forgotten that we were strangers. Okay, and I had soon forgotten that we were strangers. But she did not ask me about my family. Or where I lived, and I did not ask her where she lived. But at the same time, he also did not ask her where she lived, and I accepted her for what she had been to me, a quite kind and gentle woman who gave sweets to a lonely boy on a railway platform. So Arun felt like refusing her, Actually, she invited him. Arun, sorry, she invited him to go with her to the refreshment room and have something to eat. But Arun felt like refusing her offer out of shyness and suspicion. But he could not do so as he was impressed by her kind manner, asking a coolie to keep a watch on his suitcase. And she took Arun by the hand and led him to the dining room. Understand? Asking a coolie to keep a watch on his suitcase, she took Arun by the hand and led him to the dining room. To the dining room. She took him. Okay, she took him into the station dining room. And she ordered tea and samosas and jalebis. Okay, so she ordered tea, samosas and and the narrator was happy and started taking interest in her. Sorry, yes, okay, the narrator was happy, and he started taking interest in her. And then he became friendly. Okay, then he became friendly with the kind woman. He became friendly. The author Arun, he became he became friendly with the kind man. And she listened to what he said about himself. She listened to what he said about himself. Then she did not ask the narrator much. She did not ask about the boy's family. Okay, she did not ask anything about his family. At the same time, he also did not ask about her. Okay, he also did not ask anything about her. But she seemed to be happy in watching him eat and talk. Okay, but she seemed to be happy. She appeared to be happy in watching him to eat and talk. While returning from the refreshment room, they saw a boy jumping across a rail track. They saw while returning from the refreshment room, both of them saw a boy jumping across a rail track beside which an engine was coming. See in the next paragraph. After about half an hour, we left the dining room and began walking back along the platform. An engine was shunting up and down beside platform number 8, and as it approached, a boy leaped. Leaped means leap. L-E-A-P, leap, jump. That means jump. Okay, leapt. Okay, so L-E-A-P-T, leapt off. A boy leapt off the platform. A boy jumped the platform and ran across the rails, taking a shortcut to the next platform. He was taking a shortcut to the next platform. He was at a safe distance from the engine. He was at a safe distance from the engine, and there was no danger unless he had fallen. But as he leaped across the rails, the woman clutched my arm. Her fingers dug into my flesh. And I winced with pain. I caught her fingers and looked up at her. I caught her fingers and looked up at her, and I saw and I saw a spans of pain and fear and sadness pass across her face. She watched the boy as he climbed other platform, and it was not until he had appeared in the crowd that she relaxed her hold on my arm. So the woman frightened and pained. So, while returning from the refreshment room, they saw a boy. Jumping across the rail track between which an engine was coming, and the woman was frightened. The woman was frightened and pained. She had dug her fingers into Arun's flesh. She calmed down only when the boy reached the other side. And the narrator tried to comfort and reassure her. And the woman smiled and pressed Arun's hand gratefully. And then both of them came to the place where Arun's suitcase was placed. Understand? Are you able to understand, students? Now let's go to the next paragraph. See. Then she smiled at me reassuringly and took my hand again, but her fingers trembled against mine. He was all right. Now then he was all right, I said, feeling that it was she who needed reassurance. She smiled gratefully at me and pressed my hand. We walked together in silence until we reached the place where I had left my suitcase. One of my school fellows, Satish, a boy of about my age, had turned up with his mother. Then the woman smiled and pressed Arun's hand gratefully. Then both came to the place where Arun's suitcase were placed. Then Arun saw Satish with his mother. Satish was Arun's class fellow. Okay, he was classmate. Satish was classmate of Arun's. Satish called the narrator by his name Arun and introduced him to his mother. Here, she smiled gratefully at me, pressed my hand. They walked together in silence until they reached the place where he had left his suitcase. One of his school fellows, Sadish, a boy of about his age, had turned up with his mother. Let's go to the next section. See. Hello, Arun, he called. The train's coming in late as usual. Did you know we have a new headmaster this year? This year? We shook hands and then he turned to his mother and said, "This is Arun, mother. He is one of my friends and the best bowler in the class." I am glad to know that, said his mother, a large, imposing woman who wore spectacles. Spectacles is a plural form, a singular and plural, the same word, spectacles. Okay, she looked at the woman who laid my hand and said, "And I suppose you are Arun's mother." I opened my mouth to make some explanation, but before I could say anything, the woman replied, "Yes, I am Arun's mother. I was unable to speak a word. I looked quickly up at the woman. I looked quickly up at the woman. See, I was able to speak a word. I looked quickly up at the woman, but she did not appear to be at all embarrassed. Embarrassed means hesitate. Embarrassed means hesitate. But she did not appear to be at all embarrassed and was smiling at Sati's mother. And was smiling at Sati's mother. And see the next paragraph. Sati's mother said, "It's such a nuisance having to wait for the train right in the middle of the night. Such a nuisance. Okay, it's such a nuisance having to wait for the train right in the middle of the night. But one can't let the child wait here alone. Anything can happen to a boy at a big station like this. There are so many suspicious characters hanging about. These days, one has to be very careful of strangers. These days, one has to be very careful of strangers. Here, Arun saw Satish with his mother, and Satish was Arun's classmate. And Satish called the narrator by his name, Arun, and introduced him to his mother. She was a large and stern-looking woman with spectacles. She took the other woman to be Arun's mother, and Arun did not say so, but the woman herself said that she was Arun's mother. She was Arun's mother. Then Sati's mother did not. Then Sati's mother did a lot of talking after that. She said that it was a nuisance to wait for a train. Okay, she said that it was a nuisance to wait for a train in the middle of the night, and she was full of complaints regarding a boy traveling alone. She was also suspicious of strangers. Suspicious means doubt. Okay, there was a doubt strangers. Okay, she was also suspicious of strangers. Strangers means unknown person. Okay, she was also suspicious of strangers hanging around. And Arun felt happy when the woman said that Arun could travel alone. Sati's mother advised Arun to be careful about strangers while traveling alone. And Arun disliked the tone of Sati's mother and her bossing over him. At the same time, Arun looked at the woman who had given him to tea and snacks. See, Arun looked at the stranger woman. Arun looked at the stranger woman. Understand? Arun disliked the tone of Sati's mother and her bossing over him. At the time, Arun looked at the stranger woman who had given him tea and snacks, and said that he liked strangers. Okay, Sati's mother was shocking at being contradicted. As she repeated her warning, Arun looked angrily at her and moved closer to the stranger woman. Okay, now let's move on to the next paragraph, next page. Arun can travel alone though, said the woman beside me, and somehow I felt grateful to her for saying that. I had already forgiven her for lying, and besides, I had taken an instinctive dislike to Sadi's mother. Already I have told you about this paragraph. Well, be careful, Arun, said Sadi's mother, looking sternly at me through her spectacles. Be careful when your mother is not with you, and never talk to strangers. Okay. Then I looked from Sati's mother to the woman who had given me tea and sweets, and then back at Sati's mother. I like strangers, I said. Sati's mother definitely staggered a little, as obviously she was not used to being contracted by small boys. There you are, you see, if you don't watch over them all the time, they will walk straight into trouble. They will walk straight into trouble. Always listen to what your mother tells you, she said, wagging a fat little finger at me. Always listen. Always listen. Always remember to what your mother tells you, she said, wagging a fat little finger at me. And never talk to strangers. And never talk to strangers. And I glared resentfully at her and moved closer to the woman who had befriended me. Satish was standing behind his mother, grinning at me. Okay, Satish was standing behind his mother and grinning at Arun, and delighted in my class with his mother. Apparently, he was on my side. He was on my side. And the station bell clanched. And the people who had till now been squatting resignedly on the platform began hustling about. Here it comes, shouted Satish. And as the engine whistled, strict and the front lights played over the rails. The train moved slowly into the station. The engine hissing and sending out waves of steam. As it came to a stop, Satish jumped on the footboard. Jumped on the footboard of a lighted compartment and shouted, "Come on, Arun! This one's empty. And I picked up my suitcase and made a dash for the open door. Then we placed ourselves at the open windows. And the two women stood outside on the platform talking up to us. Okay, actually they placed themselves at the open windows, and the two women stood. The two women was standing outside on the platform and talking up to them. Satish's mother did most of the talking. Okay, Satish's mother did most of the talking. No, don't jump no, don't jump on and off moving trains as you did just now. Okay, she said, and don't stick your heads out of the windows. Don't stick your heads out of the windows, and don't eat any rubbish on the way. And she allowed me to share the benefits of her advice. Understand? As she probably didn't think my mother, a very capable person, she handed Satish a bag of fruit, a cricket bat, and a big box of chocolates, and told him to share the food with me. Then she stood back from the window to watch how my mother behaved. At the time, I was smarting under the patronizing tone of Satish's mother, who obviously thought mine a very poor family. And I did not intend giving the other woman away. Then I let her take my hands in hers, but I could think of nothing to say. I was conscious of Satish's mother staring at us with a hot with hard, beady eyes. And I found myself hating her with a firm, unreasoning hate. The god walked up the platform, blowing his whistle for the train to leave. I looked straight into the eyes of the woman who held my hand, and she smiled in a gentle, understanding way. I leaned out of the window then and put my lips to her cheek and kissed her. Then, then the carriage jolted. Okay, the carriage jolted forward, and she drew her hand away. Goodbye, mother, said Satish as the train began to move slowly out of the station. Satish and his mother waved to each other. Goodbye, I said to the other woman. Goodbye, mother. I didn't wave or shout, but sat still in front of the window. I didn't wave or shout, but sat still in front of the window, gazing at the woman on the platform. And Sati's mother was talking to her, but she did not appear to be listening. She was looking at me. She was looking at me. Then Sati's mother was talking to her, but she did not appear to be listening. She was looking at me as the train took me away. She stood there on the busy platform. She stood there at the busy platform. A pale, sweet mother. A pale, sweet woman in white, and I watched her until she was lost in the milling crowd. She was lost in the milling crowd. In this story, Arun bids a goodbye to the stranger, and the other woman, um, and the other woman was standing there quietly. Actually, Sadi's mother Sadi's mother did a lot of talking after that. Then she said it was a nuisance to wait for a train in the middle of the night, and she was full of complaints regarding a boy traveling alone. She was also suspicious of strangers hanging around, and Arun felt happy when the woman said that Arun could travel alone. Then Sati's mother advised Arun to be careful about strangers while traveling alone. Arun disliked the tone of Sati's mother and her bossing over him. And Arun looked at the stranger woman who had given tea and snacks and said that he liked strangers. After that, Sadi's mother was shocked at being contradicted. As she repeated her warning, Arun looked angrily at her and moved closer to the stranger woman. And Arun bids goodbye to the stranger. The other woman was standing there quietly. She did not say any word, but she felt sad. Arun held her hands and she smiled. Arun at last kissed her cheeks. When the train moved slowly out of the station, Satish bade goodbye to his mother. Arun also did the same. He addressed the woman as mother. He continued gazing at her until she was lost. Until she was lost in the milling crowd. Did you all understand the students? I hope you enjoy the story. You too have to read the story yourself, and we will see in the next class. Okay, thank you, students.